Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Welcome to Super Breakfast Friends Club, the show where I say a thing to introduce it.
Sometimes you say two things.
I'm Mike.
I'm not,
And welcome to Super Breakfast Friends Club.
as previously stated.
This is the show where we look at TV shows based on video games. I haven't explained it in a long time, but if you're new here, now you know.
Yeah, we've been doing this a long time and we still have no format. We just come in guns blazing.
We have a format, it's just secret and optional.
You have to access it through the sound menu.
Yeah, I mean, what are the things that happen? I say, hi everybody, you say hello. I say, welcome to Super Breakfast Friends Club. Then some nonsense happens for a little while, and then we play the theme song. It's Kirby again.
We came back.
We came back.
Right back at ya.
That's the name of the show.
It is.
I don't like the Japanese theme song to this show.
I like it. I don't love it.
I don't know, it's quite boring, in my opinion.
It doesn't feel very Kirby.
It doesn't, does it? It feels very marching band.
Yeah. Like, it feels very kids' show. But Kirby doesn't really feel like that.
It does, yeah. It feels like a song for a younger audience. I do wonder if it was like a miscommunication with the person who wrote the theme song about what the show was. Maybe they showed them the characters and they were like, oh, okay, so this is a preschool show.
I mean, Kirby is a baby and we're following him around all day.
That's true, but he's hilarious.
Unlike babies.
Yeah. So this is the second episode of the Hoshi no Kabi anime, meaning Kirby of the Stars, which is what the games are called in Japan.
What?
Yeah. It's not Kirby's Dream Land, it's Kirby of the Stars.
The next thing you're going to tell me Kirby isn't angry on all of his box art?
Well, I don't want to break your illusions, but this episode is called, Oh No! Search for the Warrior's House.
That was the worst segue.
I don't think it was a segue.
Whatever it was, I disapprove.
Okay.
I want it to be known.
I think it was just a hard subject change. Yeah, this episode was written by Soji Yoshikawa, who wrote for a ton of things. And the main three that stood out to me were, it wrote for the original Lupin the Third series, Time Bokan, and Ultraman.
Lupin the Third is one of those shows that I've always wanted to get into, but I always forget that it exists.
Same. I have Castle of Cagliostro, and that's it. I want to get more.
I watched a handful of episodes 1,000 years ago when they played it on Adult Swim. I was like, I don't understand the first thing that's going on.
It always looks fun, though.
Yeah, looks like a good time.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to get some of the actual show and want to see more of the movies. They did a 3D one recently that looked real good.
Huh.
Like, it was 3D, but they really perfectly captured the art style.
Right, like a Phoenix Wright.
Yeah! So this Kirby episode aired October 13th, 2001 in Japan, and we open up with Dedede and Escargon watching the people of Cappy Town playing with spinning tops. They're just up in the castle tower with binoculars, spying on the children.
Yeah.
And Dedede's worrying that Kirby's getting a little too close to the people and he might stay. Escargon says, he calls himself Dr. Escargon, and he says he can invent something to get rid of Kirby. And then Dedede says his inventions aren't reliable. And I'm just thinking, what inventions?
I don't care because I just love that bit because he's like, your inventions aren't reliable. Let's go order another monster from that strange man on the TV.
Yeah, it worked out so well last time.
Right.
It gave me the feeling that, like, there's a whole backstory here of these two where Escargon has been his inventor, but Dedede's had enough of it because it always goes wrong. And I don't feel like that ever happens in the rest of the show. I don't think we've ever seen any of Escargon's inventions.
Maybe we have, and they just didn't give him credit.
Yeah, maybe. Oh, maybe he made the car that they drive around in.
Yeah, that tank that they're always blasting civilians with.
Yeah, that one. That's possible. It's also possible that he does invent things later on and I just don't remember.
Yeah. I don't trust your memory.
Yeah, I haven't watched this show in years. Probably like a decade since I last watched this show, and I never saw the whole series. I only saw maybe like 20 episodes at most out of 100.
That's a lot of Kirby.
Yeah, there's 100 episodes. I was actually surprised learning that again when I was looking up the show today, because I would have assumed there was like 52, because that's what most anime get.
Right.
But there's 100 exactly. Dedede heads off to order another monster from the customer service guy. And when he's on the screen, he's like, oh, now that we know your enemy is Kirby, we've got some special monsters for that. And there's all these creatures behind him that look like bootleg crane game Kirby enemies.
Yes! I thought I was going crazy. I was like, that looks like a broom hatter, but it doesn't look like one.
Yeah, they're all like slight knockoffs of real Kirby enemies. It was funny.
I liked it.
I wonder if they did that because they didn't want to, like, maybe they weren't sure which Kirby enemies they would use for different things and they didn't want to cut themselves off from any of them.
Maybe.
Because some of the Kirby enemies in this show are monsters that Dedede orders, but some of them are just regular people living in Cappy Town. I don't know where the line is drawn there. Because, like, here, this episode, Dedede orders Blocky, which is a boss from the Kirby games. But also, he eats at the restaurant of Chef Kawasaki, who is also a boss from the Kirby games.
Yeah, I recall beating him up a few times.
So it's like, how did they decide which Kirby enemies were going to be townspeople and which ones were going to be monsters from the internet?
I'm sorry, how could Blocky fit into the peaceful town of Poo 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 Land?
This whole town is full of mushroom people.
Yeah.
That's the thing as well, because all of the Cappies in this show look like... Oh, what are they called? You know, the clay figures?
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Haniwa. Is that what
That's
they
the
are?
one, yeah. Yeah. They all look like Haniwa. And I think if you didn't know the games, you'd assume that's what they are. But because we know the games, we know that these are actually mushroom people. But in this show, they just never have their mushroom caps on.
They just have different caps.
Yeah. There's not a single one with the mushroom cap on. It's weird.
They all have hair, though, like mushrooms do in real life.
Not all of them. Some of them have mustaches instead.
True.
The town kids are all playing jump rope. Lololo and La 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 holding the ends of the rope, and the kids are jumping on it. And Kirby, when he tries to do it, it just gets whipped out of the air by the rope immediately.
Yeah.
Everybody laughs at him, and he looks a little bit mad about it, but then that's not addressed at all.
This entire episode, I just felt so bad for Kirby.
It's funny, though. The stuff that happens to him is great.
I just wanted to take him home and love him forever because he's
Yeah.
so precious and lovable and soft.
I know. Kirby... I always loved Kirby because I have a long history with Kirby. The first Kirby game was the first game I ever beat as a kid. So
Ooh.
it means a lot to me. And I've always, you know how know about me and Kirby.
Yeah.
I've got, anytime I see a Kirby plushie, I buy it. I've got the Nendoroid.
Oh, I love the Nendoroid. It's so perfect.
Yeah, it really is. Little like magnet arms so you can put them wherever you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a huge Kirby fan, and I always have been. But this show was the first time we really got a good look at Kirby's personality.
Yeah.
And it's so good.
It's so cute.
Just makes you love him even more.
He's baby, and I love him.
Yeah. I can't remember if it was like Smash Brothers or something that had the description of Kirby that said he's a guy who eats whenever he gets hungry and sleeps whenever he gets tired. And I think about that a lot. Whenever I'm thinking about like what Kirby would do in a situation. That's the line I think of.
That sounds like the credo you live your life by.
Well, I do eat whenever I'm hungry, but I don't sleep whenever I get tired. Unless I'm on public transport, then I just sleep constantly.
Don't even wake me when I get there. Keep driving.
So a storm starts, and I thought immediately that this was the monster that Dedede had ordered.
Right.
Because we see him, he calls up the customer service guy and he says he wants a monster, but then I guess he doesn't get one at that point, because this is just a normal storm.
Yeah, it seems like even though the guy said they have something, since they know he's fighting Kirby, it's almost implied that it took them a while to like research and deliver it.
Also, like, did it feel to you like it implied that the customer service guy was familiar with Kirby already?
Yes. Like,
yeah.
What do you mean? Oh, Kirby. Yeah, we know what to do to fight Kirby.
Yeah.
You know, that thing that everybody knows about.
I don't know. I haven't seen the whole series, so I don't know if that is foreshadowing of something. Maybe it is. I never saw past the point where it was just like this Monster of the Week type stuff.
Right.
I know eventually, they go to Nightmare's base and take him on, but I never got that far.
Isn't there an episode where Dedede like makes his own bad animation?
Yes, there is.
It's so good.
Yeah, and it has a lot of meta in-jokes about animation, if I remember rightly.
When are we going to watch that episode?
Oh, we'll watch it. We'll get to it. But for now, it's raining, and all the kids run for a nearby house, which I guess was the mayor's house. And Kirby runs for a tree, where he jumps into the nest of a little yellow bird called Tokori.
I hate this guy.
Really? I kind of love him.
No, he bullies Kirby the whole time.
He does, but, do you want to... I can let you in on some future stuff. If you want to know why he's likable.
What, he has a redemption arc? I'm supposed to like this little asshole?
This guy is basically Kirby's best friend later in the series.
After being the worst.
Yeah, he becomes Kirby's roommate, and they live together, and they spend a lot of time together.
I guess he becomes his roommate in this one.
Yeah, and later on in the series, like, Tokori is the one person who can understand the baby nonsense that Kirby speaks and stuff like that.
Fine.
So I feel like he becomes more likable. But yeah, he was in the first episode. He's actually the first character we ever saw in this show. Do you remember that?
Of course I don't. That was like a year ago.
Yeah, the show opens with a shot of Tokori sleeping in his nest. But then this is the first time he actually had lines.
I spent so much of this episode just struggling to remember what happened in the first one.
Kirby came from space and fight octopus with fire
I remember
powers.
that part.
That's basically all you needed to remember. Tokori is played by Fujiko Takimoto, a voice that we are intimately familiar with.
Intimately, you say?
Intimately. Fujiko Takimoto was the voice of young Link in Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask.
Oh.
Also Smash Brothers and Hyrule Warriors. So I feel like that alone, like, we must have heard 1,000,000 hours of that voice over the course of our lives.
Well, yes and no. You have to remember that.
Oh, yeah, your N64 sound was broken. I forgot.
So for a good portion of my life, I was playing the N64 in dead silence.
All right, but you know what young Link sounds like now, right?
Yeah, I've since played. I mean, I had to emulate Majora's Mask, so I played that.
Well, there are other reasons that we're familiar with this actor.
Why is that?
For me, she was the voice of Justin in Grandia.
Mm-hmm.
She was also young Mewtwo in the Japanese version of the first Pokemon movie. And for you, she was Suguru in Higurashi.
I don't remember who that is.
Me neither, but you watched it.
I have no idea who this child is.
Oh, well. Never mind then.
It's been like 15 years since I watched it.
Yeah, this kid was not in the episode that we watched of Higurashi, so... Oh well, I tried.
Thanks for nothing.
Young Link is enough for you.
Yeah.
In English, Tokori is played by Kevin Kolak, who is known as the voice of Bon Clay in 4Kids' One Piece dub, but mostly played small roles in live-action shows. It's another one whose credit list has a lot of cop in one episode of, whatever.
Right.
Very different vibe for Tokori because Kevin Kolak played Tokori with a Cajun accent.
Okay.
Tokori sounds kind of like an angry little boy in the Japanese version, and it sounds like an angry man in the English version.
Listen up, Junior. This is my nest. No pingles allowed. Now hit the road.
I kind of love that.
Something I have thought, ever since I first watched this show, way back when it first came out, God, more than 20 years ago now, Jesus. This could have been Pitch, right? Tokori could have been Pitch from Kirby's Dream Land 3. You remember the little green bird that's one of the animal friends?
Yes. Yes, I do.
We played that game together a little bit.
A little bit.
I wonder if they just didn't want to make Pitch this mean.
Probably.
That might be the only reason that this is a new character instead of being Pitch.
Look at Pitch. He's the perfect design. He's the perfect bird.
I know, you're looking at him right now.
I sure am.
He's pretty cute.
He's friend-shaped.
Yeah, I don't think Pitch ever appears in the anime, at least not to my knowledge.
There's a picture of him in an anime scenario that I'm looking at right now.
Are you sure it's not fan art? Because I'm looking at the Kirby wiki and it doesn't say anything about him being in the anime.
You know what else wikis don't mention being in the show?
What?
My man Fuzzy Slippers?
Listen, this is the Kirby wiki. This isn't some rinky-dink Hey Arnold wiki.
How dare you call the Hey Arnold wiki rinky-dink?
Yeah, I think somebody has created some anime fan art to spread misinformation.
We're gonna change the election with this deep fake Pitch anime image. We're gonna sway the hearts and minds.
Okay, yes, only Rick, Kine, and Ku appear in the anime, according to the Kirby wiki. And they're all in this episode.
Yeah, they are.
Seeing Kirby run to this tree instead of a house makes the kids realize that Kirby has no home to go to.
How long has he been here? Since the first episode, how much time has elapsed that it finally dawns on them?
I think this might just be, literally the next day, to be honest.
That's still a whole night that they just let Kirby sleep outside.
Where was he the first night? Maybe he stayed in the castle the first night? Maybe he just slept in his crashed spaceship.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Or maybe he just didn't sleep. He was up all night fighting an octopus. So the house they're standing at, I'm assuming it's the mayor's house, since the mayor's wife opens the window.
That's a pretty safe assumption.
Well, it could be anything. She asks the kids if they want to come inside to shelter from the rain, and the kids are like, "Hey, you're the mayor's wife. Can Kirby live with you?" And she has a flashback to the dinner from the first episode where Kirby inhaled everything. And then she just kind of closes the window.
She implies it was a funny joke and leaves.
Yeah. So they head to Chef Kawasaki's restaurant to ask him if he'll take Kirby in. Kawasaki, one of my favorite Kirby characters of all time. He's played by Nobuo Tobita, who we've talked about before a couple times. He played Kabu in the first episode of this show, actually. And he was also the voice of Dr. Stewart in F-Zero.
Ooh.
In English, Kawasaki is played by Maddie Blaustein, another voice that we are very familiar with.
Go on.
Maddie played Meowth in Pokemon from episode 32, way up until 4Kids lost the license.
Which one is Meowth?
He's the one on Team Rocket with the purple hair.
Oh, okay, you're right.
He's not. For people who don't know, he's not. He's the cat.
No, the cat is James.
There's, like, if I don't clarify, there's going to be someone who's like, actually, Meowth is the cat.
Isn't the name stupid?
Yeah, Maddie also played Dr. K in Cubics. And I could tell, because I looked this up right here when I was researching this. Because I thought, like, oh, that's right. Kawasaki was the same actor as Meowth. Wait, I've always wondered if that was the same person who played the villain in Cubics. Because every time, I only saw Cubics like 5 times. And every time I heard the villain's voice, I was like, is that Meowth? That sounds like Meowth. And now I've finally looked it up and confirmed that it was in fact Meowth.
Oh, we can finally die. We've gained the information we needed.
She was also briefly the voice of Omega in Sonic the Hedgehog. I think she only played him once or twice. But briefly. But when during the brief period when all the Sonic characters had 4Kids voices, Maddie Blaustein was Omega.
Mm-hmm.
Omega didn't appear much during that period, so it didn't really matter too much. I think she played him in Shadow the Hedgehog and Sonic 06, and that was it.
That's enough.
But anyway.
Chef Kawasaki.
Kawasaki is great. I love Kawasaki. I can't remember if I loved him before this show, or if this show is what really made me love him. But I think he's my favorite Kirby mini-boss.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a bold statement, but like, what other mini-bosses do we even know?
Oh, there's so many mini-bosses. There's Bonkers, there's Bugsy.
Oh, there is Bonkers. But like,
there's
they
Poppy
don't have...
Brothers Senior.
They don't have winning personalities like Kawasaki.
No, Kawasaki is the best one, for sure. He immediately asks the kids why Kirby can't live with them since they live in the castle, and the castle is fancy and luxurious.
Right.
But Kirby can't live in the castle because Dedede hates Kirby.
Which makes sense.
Yeah. So Kawasaki agrees to take Kirby in as long as Kirby can work in the restaurant. And you know what? Kirby working in the restaurant was so cute.
It was adorable. He was such a good little waiter.
He was doing such a good job, and he was so happy to do it.
Yeah, you expect the setup to be that Kirby does a bad job and gets kicked out, but he was a great waiter.
Yeah, he was running back and forth from the kitchen really fast with a big smile on his face. He was just happy to be helping.
Yeah.
Like, you say Kirby's, like, basically a baby, and that is true, but I just had the thought that he's kind of like a dog. And maybe that's why I love him.
Kind of.
Like, you give a dog a task and watch him do it, like, so pleased with themselves for being able to do it. That's what Kirby's doing right here.
Dogs are great.
Dogs are great. So anyway, Dedede shows up to sabotage Kirby's job.
I was gonna say, how does he even know? But I guess they've been spying on the children all day from the castle, so...
Yeah, he doesn't have a lot to do as king.
He's already made it to the top.
So yeah, they just kind of like trip Kirby as he's carrying food and move tables so he spills it on the floor.
Demand more, get Kirby kicked out.
Yeah, eventually Kawasaki fires him. It's sad.
It is. But I do like that Fumu was like, wait a second, wasn't it the customers that were the problem?
Yeah. The kids point out that it was Dedede's fault, and Kawasaki knows it, but he's like, well, he's the king. What am I supposed to do? And I get it. If the king's going to come and screw up your business because you've got Kirby working there, then you're going to have to get Kirby out of there.
I guess.
He's got a business to run. I do like Kirby wasn't upset about it, though. The kids are upset about it. But you see Kirby, and he's already just playing in a puddle outside on the street. He's fine. He's happy.
He's moved on. He is dauntless.
But then we see Dedede making a deal with Tokori. Because Tokori kind of wants Kirby kicked out too, because he doesn't want Kirby to keep jumping in his nest. So Tokori agrees to help Dedede to get Kirby kicked out. And then we get this... It's not exactly a montage, but it's kind of a montage of the kids taking Kirby to different places and trying to get him a job and a place to stay.
Yeah.
First is the police station.
This is the best one.
This whole scene is my favorite part of the whole episode. This is where all my biggest laughs came from. The first one and the last one were both laugh out loud funny to me. The two in the middle are okay, but the first one and the last one killed me. So the police chief is saying, yeah, Kirby can be a cop and he can stay at the police station, but he'll have to sleep in a jail cell. Meanwhile, Tokori just kind of drops a machine gun into Kirby's hands.
Right. And it fires wildly for like a solid minute.
It seems to me like Kirby is deliberately firing it wildly into the air.
It's kind of hard to read. Kirby doesn't have a whole lot of expression during it other than whatever. Pained.
It's so funny though, the suddenness of it. Because we don't even see the gun land in Kirby's hands. We see Tokori drop it from above him, and then it just cuts to Kirby firing madly into the air in all directions.
It's the duration that does it for me.
And everybody is just like diving around. I think even the guy who was in the cell is now out of the cell with them all dodging bullets. And then we see the place from the outside, which is now full of holes, and it just collapses.
So this show was dubbed by 4Kids, right?
Yeah.
I'm very curious to see what the dub did with that scene.
It removed it entirely.
Oh, that's bullshit.
Yeah. Also removed from the dub is the next scene where they try to get Kirby a job at the local bar.
Oh. They don't even say what it is. It's just very heavily implied to be a bar.
Yeah, the guy's saying that it's not really a place for kids and Kirby's too young to work there. And Tokori, I think Kirby is just like shaking a mixer, right?
Yeah.
The whole time. And then Tokori hands him a barrel. He shakes that and it explodes. And all the children get covered in beer.
Oh no, the youth is corrupted.
This one kind of fell flat for me. Not as funny as the others.
Right.
Then we go to the antique shop, which is the first place they go in the dub. The guy in charge of the antique shop is saying that he's not too sure about having Kirby work there because of how priceless some of the stuff is. He has a jar that's 20,000 years old, which Tokori drops on Kirby's head, and then Kirby falls off the desk and breaks it.
Poor Kirby. Just
Poor
this whole
Kirby.
time, I feel so bad for him. Kirby can live with me.
Yeah, I'd let him move in with me. I don't even care how much trouble he causes.
I couldn't afford to feed him, but he can get a job.
You don't need to feed him, just send him outside.
To eat the wildlife.
Yeah, he'll just inhale whatever. Oh, take him to the dump. You could solve so many problems.
Is that ethical to make Kirby just eat a bunch of garbage?
I don't think you'd have to make him.
I just mean, like, can Kirby's stomach handle all of that waste and rot and filth?
Pretty sure Kirby's stomach is just a black hole.
That's fun then.
Like, I don't know. I guess he must taste things because he clearly gets pleasure out of eating certain things.
Mm-hmm.
He loves strawberry cheesecake and tomatoes. Not together. Well, probably together as well. This last one was my favorite of the places they take him.
This one's pretty good.
This one got such a big laugh out of me. And it's the timing of it, because this one is the shortest one.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just so fast and so immediate and so stupid.
Stupid is the operative word for sure.
So they take him to a gas station and they're saying, look, we know he's a curious guy, but he'd be a good worker. And the guy's like, well, I don't know. He seems like the type to push buttons that he shouldn't. Meanwhile, Tokori sticks a no Kirby sticker onto a button and taps Kirby on the shoulder. And Kirby just turns around, sees this no Kirby sign, and immediately pushes the button. And then we cut to a long shot of the gas station, which explodes in the distance. And the timing of it is just so good.
押してはいけないというボタンを押すものさ。
The timing is great, but also it took me a second to realize it's specifically a no Kirby button, not just like a do not press button.
Yeah. It's the no Kirby button and he just immediately presses it. Oh, I love Kirby.
I know, me too.
There's something like that in is it Epic Yarn, or it might be the Wii U one where you like draw rainbow lines to guide him. There's a part where you're like in a rocket ship. Or no, you are a rocket ship. You've become a rocket ship. And you fly through this room that just has a giant button on it that's just like, don't press. So immediately you press it, of course.
Of course.
And you have to progress the level, but I think it activates like a self-destruct or something. But like I remember like when I got to that part, it made me laugh so much because you just enter that room and it's like, don't press this, and you immediately press it.
So it's canon.
Yeah. So they're back at Tokori's tree, where Ku is now trying to talk Tokori into letting Kirby stay with him. I love Ku.
He's cool.
Ku the owl, for anyone who doesn't know, was one of Kirby's animal friends who first appeared in Kirby's Dream Land 2 for the Game Boy. One of three, all three of whom appear in this episode. So Ku is played by Yuko Mizutani, who also played Fumu and Bun's mother in the first episode. I don't know if you remember her.
I sure don't.
She is a lady.
Oh.
In fact, in English, she's called Ladylike.
Okay.
She's whatever. We talked about her before in the first episode. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, she's not even in this episode. She's not real.
Well, she's Ku.
The mother is not Ku.
Yeah, she is.
That's not... I'm gonna hang up now. I'm gonna hang up and go to bed.
Okay, in English, Ku is played by Eric Stewart, who we've talked about lots of times. In this show alone, Eric Stewart is already playing Meta Knight, Sword Knight, and Blade Knight.
It's too many nights.
That we've talked about before. He was also the voice of Brock in Pokemon. He later became the voice of James, but we haven't seen him as James yet. We haven't got that far. And he was also Les Galagugu in Viva Pinata.
No! I'm sorry, but he's lost my respect.
I got such a mixed relationship with Eric Stewart because I really liked him as Brock, and I really liked him as James early on as well, but I don't like him as Meta Knight, and I don't like Les Galagugu in general.
And that's his fault. He created the character, he's the voice.
But hey, well, remember we found that poll saying Les Galagugu was the most popular character.
I don't believe it.
It's hard
I refuse to believe it. I can't live in a world where that's true.
But then again, look at the competition.
That's a good point. Like, Les Galagugu is annoying, but at least he doesn't talk.
Yeah, at least his face isn't constantly bugging out like Fergie Fudgehog. The body horror prince of the Pinata Island.
Ugh, that thing woogling around. What if you woke up in the dead of night and Fergie Fudgehog was just crawling around your floor?
I'd wish that guns were legal in this country.
He's gonna have a lot more to worry about than just a piñata party.
I'd probably just whack at him with my guitar, actually. So anyway, Fumu, known as Tiff in English. We haven't actually said her name really up until this point. She decides that they're going to build a treehouse for Kirby, and all the town's kids chip in to help build this treehouse. This is where Rick pointlessly shows up.
It was pretty pointless, but I liked it.
It was cute. It was a cute moment. But when they went to the trouble of introducing him here, I assumed he would have a bigger part later on in the episode, but he shows up again in like one shot, but that's it.
Yeah, he's just there to be like, hi, I'm Rick. You're going the wrong way. Goodbye.
Yeah, and I do love Rick. I don't know if Rick is my favorite of the animal friends. It's either Rick or Kine. I can never decide.
Kine's pretty stupid.
I love both of them for different reasons. I love Rick for being cute, and I love Kine for being stupid. So.
Pick your poison.
But yeah, that's all that happens. Rick introduces himself and points Kirby in the right direction. Like Kirby, he was running past with a log, and he just saw Rick and was like, "I want to talk to this guy."
Yeah, I want this to be my animal friend.
He just fully turned around to run over to him.
You know, when you just encounter somebody that you know you want to make your friend?
Yeah. That's what I did with Tom, I think.
And now he's trapped.
Yeah.
I think that's what I did with you.
Yeah? You know, I don't remember how we met. It's been such a long time. But I think it was I know it was on DeviantArt. And I think you did just start commenting on my stuff.
Yeah, I don't remember how I found you, but I was like, this guy does cute Pokemon art.
Yeah, and then I just started commenting back on your stuff. And then I think one day you were just like, do you have AIM? And I was like, no, I'm not American. We don't really use that here. And then you were like, you should get it.
I was a lot more brazen back then. The internet didn't have consequences back in the 2000s.
Yeah, and I did. I got AIM, and my only contacts were you and those learning robots you could talk to back then.
Zola
on AIM, and there was that Santa one.
Oh, yeah. And Smarter Child.
Yeah. Yeah, they're all shut down now. But
R.I.P.
yeah.
Smarter Child.
And then eventually I was like, hey, look, I don't want to use AIM anymore. Can you get MSN?
And now MSN is gone.
Yeah, there's so many communication methods that we've been through over the years because they got shut down.
We've outlived them all.
Yeah, we outlived AIM, MSN, Skype. What else? We were using Steam for a while before Discord. I guess we use Discord and Facebook Messenger most now.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're talking about Kirby, not our sordid past.
Our assorted past.
So Rick is played by Makiko Omoto, who we've talked about before. Do you know why we've talked about Makiko Omoto before?
Nope.
She's the voice of Kirby.
Okay.
So this scene was just Kirby stopping to have a conversation with himself.
That's cool.
Yeah. She was also the voice of Sayaka in Danganronpa.
Oh, okay.
In English, Rick is played by Andrew Rannells. This guy has the most interesting career of any actor on this show.
Yeah.
So at this point, I guess he was mostly doing cartoon voices. He was Streaks in Street Sharks. He played Archie in Archie's Weird Mysteries. In Pokemon, he played Morty and also Harley. Harley was the guy he was a rival for May in the contest circuit. He was dressed as a cacturn.
Oh, yeah, I remember him.
But then he went on to be really big on Broadway.
Okay.
It seems like his first stage show was actually playing James in Pokemon Live. At least that's the first thing that I saw in the list. But his biggest, the thing he seems to be most well known for is for playing Elder Kevin Price on the original Broadway run of The Book of Mormon.
What?
And, like, he's just done a ton of Broadway stuff since, including being a temporary replacement for King George III in Hamilton, which, you know, I don't know a lot about Broadway, but I know that show was a big deal.
Right.
And the way that you can tell that he's a big deal now is that he once played himself on The Simpsons.
Oh, that's a sure sign that you've made it.
Yeah. And that's wild to think that this guy doing the voice of Rick the Hamster on 4Kids Kirby
That is pretty wild, but good for him.
is now a huge Broadway name. Yeah, good for him. Sounds like he's good at it.
Yeah, I would guess.
Dedede sees this is going on, and he decides he's going to put a stop to it by ordering a monster. And then his giant, unnecessary monster download machine folds out of the castle walls. Like, did the people from the Nightmare Corporation have to come and install this for him?
I would think so, yeah. That's clearly some specialty tech.
Yeah. Imagine, like, if this is what you had to do to get online in the 90s. Yeah, we're going to need 2 screens to fold out from your walls, a chair to rise from the ground, a funny brain scan device to lower from the ceiling. Like, what's that part for?
Scanning your brain.
Like, does it scan his brain? No, it can't be scanning his brain for what monster he wants, because it never gives him what he wants.
No, they seem to pick it for him.
And anyway, this giant teleporter rises up out of the ground. And he downloads a tiny stone block.
It's Blocky.
It's Blocky, yeah. It turns out to be Blocky, one of the mini-bosses from Kirby's Dream Land 2. He's been in a lot of games since, but that's the first one he was in. It doesn't really look like him, though.
Yeah, I had no idea what I was looking at.
Yeah, do you remember Blocky from any other games?
I sure don't. Which one was he in that I would remember him?
He's in that one that we played a little bit together, but I don't know if we got to him. I don't know if he's in... It doesn't look like he's in any of the ones you've really played that much of, to be honest.
I think I've seen him before, now that I'm looking at him. I definitely didn't recognize him with a fundoshi.
No, because he's never had that before. That's just for this. He also doesn't usually have arms.
Yeah, he's pretty cute.
He is pretty cute. He's not so cute in the show.
No, like, how is Blocky supposed to menace you with a face like that?
Yeah, I suppose that's why they redesigned him for the show, to make him more menacing. To demonstrate his power, he, I guess, like, pounds through, like, 50 floors of Dedede's castle.
He does, and Dedede and Escargon race down to stop him, but they successfully hold him up, which I found strange.
Yeah, he's just smashed all the way down through a ton of floors of the castle, and then Dedede and Escargon stop it. Maybe Dedede is just really strong. I mean, I think it's canon that he's really strong, but I don't know if he's this strong.
I wanted them to get squished. I wanted them to turn into a thin paper and float around like Kirby did.
So Blocky, kind of like Lololo and La La La, Blocky was actually put into the games as a callback to Hal's earlier game, Adventures of Lolo.
Oh.
Blocky's design in the games is based heavily on an Adventures of Lolo enemy called Rocky. They basically look exactly the same. Like that picture I showed you of Kirby's Dream Land 2 Blocky basically looks the same as Rocky. I wonder if they redesigned him to move him further away from the Adventures of Lolo character, but then again, they didn't bother redesigning Lololo and La 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 for that reason, so I don't know.
Right, and they're floating around constantly.
Yeah, you know, we haven't actually called attention to them that much, but they've been here the whole time. Everywhere the kids have gone, Lololo and La 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 have been there with them.
They just don't do anything.
Yeah. I do like them being there, though. Lololo is one of my favourite character designs in Kirby. La La La's alright, but she's got Mickey Mouse. She's got Minnie Mouse syndrome.
Right. The boy one, but girl.
Yeah, I'm never a fan of, like, when they just take the boy character and add a bow.
Yeah.
That's why, like in Sonic, I love Amy, but I love her so much more since they redesigned her to have her own look.
Mm-hmm.
Back when she was just Pink Sonic, I was never that attached to her. The kids are unveiling Kirby's new house, which is a cute little tree house.
It is, and very well put together considering it was made by a bunch of children.
Yeah, they've got there's like a table set up for a dinner, everybody to have a little party. The mayor and the police chief are talking about how the location is great because it's far enough out of town that Kirby won't be able to cause trouble. I thought that was funny.
Poor Kirby.
Then Dedede shows up, demanding the rioters disperse.
I did love that. Immediately accusing them of rioting at their quiet dinner party.
Yeah. And then when they're like, oh, we're just having a party, this isn't a riot, they're like, they're resisting arrest, and they open fire.
And just blast his poor house to pieces.
Yeah, immediately. We don't even really get a good look at it before it's exploded.
No. We don't see the interior.
Yeah, the floor plan they had drawn up, it looked like there were quite a lot of rooms inside. Yeah, Kirby's sad about it. This is the part where I felt the worst for Kirby, with everything that's happened to him so far.
Yeah.
Him being sad about his house being blown up was the part that got me.
He's just a little guy.
He, most of the time, doesn't even really seem to know what's going on. Like, when he got thrown out of Kawasaki's place, I don't think he really understood what happened.
No, I don't think he did either.
So Dedede places the tiny block on the field, leaves it to fight Kirby, and it grows up to full size. And yeah, smashes him flat.
Just repeatedly pounds poor Kirby into the dirt.
Yeah, and then Kirby's flat, paper-thin body floats up out of the crater. The part where the kids, they like grab him and they're shaking him out like a big sheet.
Mm-hmm.
So much care had been put into the animation of flat Kirby being shaken out.
It's good. It's a good scene.
Because this show, I don't think we've really talked about it, but this show has a mixture of 2D and 3D animation.
Yeah, it's a little confusing at times.
Personally, I'm not a big fan of it.
No, me neither.
I always, at any point in the show, I always think that Kirby looks better in 2D than he does in 3D. I feel like they mostly make him 3D whenever stuff's happening.
Yeah.
And I never think it's as nice to look at as when he's just a 2D guy standing there.
No, me neither.
So I'm almost surprised that this flat sheet Kirby is 2D, because it would have been harder to do than to make it 3D.
Right, just flap a 3D model around and call it done.
Yeah. It's like, as much as I prefer seeing Kirby in 2D, what's worse for me is when Dedede is 3D. I really don't like the 3D Dedede that they have.
3D?
3D, yeah. I guess he is 3Ds.
Yeah?
So, is he DDD when he's 3D?
Bobo? No, there were a couple times throughout where it would, like, even just between shots, switch between 3D and 2D DDD. And I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah, he looks better in 2D. They all look better in 2D.
Yeah.
Blocky, I get. Blocky, I think, looks fine in 3D. I think he's 3D in every shot that he's in.
I think so, yeah.
And that makes sense, because he's just a big cube. But any character that has to emote, the emoting doesn't look as nice
Yeah.
in 3D as it does in 2D. A lot of the 3D in this, it feels like they're doing it because they can, rather than because it made sense to, or because it looked good. DDD's car is usually 3D, and I think that makes sense as well.
That's what I was gonna say. That's easier to animate, but it feels out of place.
Yeah. I think, with some exceptions like Blocky, I think for the most part the characters should have just been 2D all the time. And they should have just used 3D for stuff like DDD's car, the Warp Star maybe. The Warp Star's not in this episode, is it?
Nope.
That's funny. Considering what an important thing it was in the first one.
We've moved on. He needs a house.
So anyway, Kirby tries to inhale Blocky, but Blocky is too heavy.
He's too thick.
And Meta Knight is just kind of watching from behind a tree.
Right, like a creep.
Yeah. Was he watching the party already?
Maybe.
Nobody invited me.
Dedede wasn't up in the castle creeping and a peeping, so Meta Knight was doing it instead.
Kirby starts getting crushed again, but this time Fumu does like the coolest thing she does in the whole show so far. She does like a rolling... She rolls under Blocky while he's up before he comes back down again, grabs Kirby, and then just throws him like a frisbee because he's only partially flattened right now.
I did love that she threw him like a frisbee. Like it felt a little disrespectful. But I guess she saved him.
Yeah. And he lands in Tokori's nest. So Blocky knocks the tree down. And oh my god, so Tokori starts asking Dedede why he let his home get destroyed after Tokori had helped him. And Dedede just shoots him.
I loved that. It was so stupid. Just blast him in the face with his cannon.
It happened so suddenly that I almost didn't believe it at first.
Oh, it was good. I laughed.
So Meta Knight listens in on that. So now he knows that Tokori had been helping Dedede get rid of Kirby. And he shows up to the kids and gives them a hint about how to beat Blocky. It was pretty cryptic.
It sure was. I didn't understand what he was saying.
No. And later on he takes credit for them figuring out his hint, but I don't think they did. I think, like, by pure coincidence, they just happened across the right idea.
Right.
I don't think his hint did anything for him.
Yeah, because he's talking about utilizing Blocky's high density-ness. And I was like, does that mean Kirby needs to eat different rocks and become rock and just out-rock him?
Well, yeah, basically.
It is, but that's not what he meant. He got there completely by coincidence.
Yeah, so they do some inhale training for Kirby using rocks. And over the course of it, they realize that it's harder for Kirby to inhale things up a hill than it is to inhale them down a hill. So when Blocky comes to confront them again, they make sure that they are downhill from him.
Thinking about it, when they first confronted Blocky, it's not that he was beneath them. They were just on even footing. So it feels still a little weird, but you know what? It works now. We'll roll with it.
Yeah, it's fine.
They figured it out.
So what doesn't really make any sense to me is why when Kirby does manage to suck Blocky down the hill, Blocky kind of like tumbles towards Kirby and then splits into 4 Blockies for some reason.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, it's not really explained why that happened exactly. But then Kirby eats one of the 4 Blockies and becomes Stone Kirby.
Dun dun dun!
And these smaller Blockies that he's split into look a lot more like Blocky from the game.
Yeah.
They still don't have the eyes or the cute smile. They've still got angry eyes and no mouth. But they don't have arms anymore and they're not dressed as sumo wrestlers anymore. So Kirby starts using his new stone ability to beat all the Blockies. And Tokori's on Kirby's side now. He's there cheering for him.
Yeah, since he's been betrayed, I guess you might as well.
Yeah, he's switched allegiances. He wants revenge for his house now. So this fight, I didn't think was particularly fun or interesting to watch.
It's kind of a hard power to do anything with, though. You just become stone and land.
Yes, that's true in the game as well, huh?
Yeah.
It's a very good defensive ability.
Yeah.
It's not a particularly exciting offensive ability. You really do just float above the enemies and then drop on them over and over again.
It's great for when you need to go down a slope really quickly as a stone.
Or when you need to pound a stake into the ground and you don't have a hammer.
Yeah. Or when Donkey Kong is underneath you and you just need him to not be.
Or when you're fighting Fatty Whale and you want to pound down on him and then be invincible for a little bit so that he can't hurt you.
But, like, not an exciting move.
No.
The most exciting part is when you turn into something other than just the stone.
Oh yeah, when you turn into the huge muscle man.
Yeah.
I swear that there's like a super rare statue of like Samus or something you can turn into. I feel like I've seen it happen once ever.
I bet the internet knows.
Or if I even dreamed it, I don't know. Oh yeah. Rare gold statues of Mario and Samus Aran. I think I've seen the Samus one once. I've played Kirby Superstar 1 billion times. I think I've only seen him turn into a gold statue of Samus once ever.
I need to play Kirby Superstar again, like so bad.
Oh, let's play it together.
Okay.
I think it's on Switch Online. It's one of my favorite games of all time.
It's really good. I love that game.
Yeah, they've never topped it. Like all the Kirby games that came since, none of them have ever been as good as Kirby Superstar. The most recent one comes close. Oh, it's not the most recent one anymore. But Forgotten Land, I think, was close to being as good as Superstar. But it's a very different game.
Yeah. Superstar just has a vibe.
And there's so much in it.
Yeah.
It's such a huge game. Just real good. Anyway, so the Blockies all kind of reform into a big one again, and they just stomp Kirby over and over until the cliff that they're standing on breaks, and they all fall into the sea. And that's fine, because Kirby can just stop being made of stone and swim out.
I do wonder at the fate of Rocky, just sitting at the bottom of the ocean for all time.
Yeah, he just sinks forever to the bottom of the sea. He never comes back.
Ever throughout the whole show?
No.
Oh.
There's 100 episodes and Blocky doesn't appear again, so I hope he's still alive down there.
Maybe he's living a rich and fulfilling life under the sea.
Yeah, maybe he became a SpongeBob character.
Maybe he's the house that Squidward lives in.
Maybe. Yeah, on the way, as he's swimming back up, Kirby bumps into Kine. Just bumps into him.
Yeah, he's having a swim.
So now all three of the animal friends from Kirby's Dream Land 2 have appeared. I think that's the only reason Kine is here. Like, none of the three of them really added anything, did they?
No, but I loved their inclusion.
Yeah, no, I'm not complaining they were there because I love those characters and it's nice to see them.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know, it just feels so odd that they're all in this episode, but none of them really do anything.
I feel like Kine was the most natural one, because it's like, yeah, he's just having a swim in the right time and place.
Yeah. If he was the only one, I wouldn't have even thought twice about it.
Yeah.
I would have just been like, oh, that's cute, there's Kine. But the fact that they squeezed in all three of them. And yeah, Ku I feel like added the most because he was at least trying to do something, even if he failed.
Right.
Rick is just there and doesn't do anything but introduce himself. And then Kine is really just a cameo. The only one of them that I know appears again in a bigger capacity is Kine, because I know there's an episode about them trying to help him find a date or something.
Dumb.
But yeah, I actually don't know. If there are more episodes about Ku and Rick, I never saw them. But they might be out there. There's 100 episodes. So everybody cheers for Kirby when they see him surface, except for Dedede, who's crying about Blocky being gone.
Yeah, he really got attached to him.
Yeah. And then we see that the townspeople have built Kirby a new house. And this time it's his actual house from the games.
Yeah, I liked that.
Yeah, so this house appeared in most of the recent games. I know it's in Forgotten Land. And I feel like I've seen it in like several of the recent 3D games. But it first appeared at the very end of Kirby Superstar. Once you beat Milky Way Wishes, you see Kirby sleeping in this house.
Yeah, I remember I took a screenshot of it. I was like, that's adorable.
It's a really cute little house. And his like blue bed sheets with yellow stars on them and everything.
Yeah.
They recreated it so accurately for this show, which I really liked.
Me too.
Although, Tokori is the one who's living in it, apparently.
That little dick.
Kirby jumps on the bed and Tokori's already in it. He says that Kirby prefers being outside anyway, and then we cut to Kirby sleeping in a nest in the tree over the house.
I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's canon.
What, that he likes that? Or?
Yeah.
We've definitely never seen him sleeping in a bird's nest in the show, to my knowledge. In the game, I mean. He will end up using this house in the show. I know that much.
Good.
But yeah, we see a preview of the next episode after the credits, and we see that next week Kirby is going to be fighting Meta Knight and also Bugsy.
Well, yeah, he's gotta steal someone's powers to fight Meta Knight.
Yeah, that's everything we got to say about the Japanese version.
Oh, I'm so ready for this hot mess.
So let's talk about the dub, shall we?
Do it.
Play the theme song!
Kirby, 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 that's the name you should know. Kirby, 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 he's the star of the show. He's more than you think, he's got maximum pink. Kirby, Kirby, Kirby's the one. He comes right back at ya. He comes right back at ya. Give it all that you got, take your very best shot. He'll send you right back at you for sure, yeah.
How can I help you, King Dedede?
I need a monster to claw with that there Kirby.
That's what we do best at NME.
You better get it with a money back guarantee.
Kirby, 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 saving the day. Kirby, 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 he's here to stay. Don't be fooled by his size, you won't believe your eyes. Kirby, 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 Kirby's the one. Right back at ya. Yeah.
It's funny because I think the English theme song is kind of awful. It's very catchy.
Yeah, I couldn't remember what show we were doing this week, and when I did remember it was Kirby, that terrible theme song weaseled its way into my brain, and it's lived there for a couple days now.
Yeah, it's funny because I really hate the lyrics, but I like the music. But that's just because it's like big band music.
Yeah.
It's like big band Vegas music, and you can't really go wrong with that.
It's just the words that make it bad.
Yeah, I think probably about 60% of the lyrics are just the word Kirby.
Yeah, it checks out.
But you know, I love Kirby, so it gets some points.
But anyway, what did they do to my boy?
Well, this episode aired in English on September 14th, 2002, almost a full year after the Japanese version. Like all 4Kids shows of this era, all of the music has been changed, and all of the new music is horrible to listen to.
Oh no!
The sound mix is awful. 4Kids, for some reason, like early Pokemon, they were fine with it, but for some reason, around this Kirby, Sonic X, F-Zero era, they completely forgot how to mix sound, and all the music is roughly as loud as the dialogue, which makes the dialogue really hard to hear and gives you a headache constantly.
That Kirby's nothing but a troublemaker, Tokori, so we gotta make sure he don't make trouble here.
If they find Kirby a place to live, pretty soon every face in town will be pink. Well, not if I can help it.
Good TV show.
It's awful. I feel like I'm sorry for all the kids that grew up on this because
They deserved better.
they did a lot to make Dedede come across more threatening. Because in the Japanese version, he's kind of just a goof.
Yeah.
But they wanted him to be more sinister, and the music they've chosen to play over his lines is like adds to that.
どいつも弱そうぜ。カービィを倒す最強の魔女を用意せ。
They look like rejects to me. I need something strong enough to get rid of that Kirby for good.
They did the same thing to Eggman in Sonic X. They wanted him to be a more serious, deadly villain for some reason.
That's so stupid.
It's very weird.
Let villains be goofy.
Yeah. They also... It's weird because it is kind of... The seriousness they've tried to add to Dedede is kind of undercut by the goofy foghorn leghorn southern accent they've given him.
Right. I forgot about that little detail.
Yes, every character in this show has to have an accent or be an impression of somebody. Every single one of them. It's wild.
But why? Who made that decision?
I don't know.
What does it add?
I've always wondered if 4Kids were just using Kirby as, like, accent coach practice. They cut the part where Escargoon, because he's called Escargoon in English, they cut the part where he mentions inventions, which kind of does make more sense since that doesn't seem to be a thing that he does in the show.
It does, but it also seems unnecessary to cut.
It does. I can't remember what he said instead, probably just some joke about something.
Well, King Dedede, if you want my opinion.
But it does kind of remove a facet of his personality, even if it's not a facet they were actively using.
Right.
When the kids are playing jump rope, they've added a song that the kids are singing while they're doing it.
Okay.
About how much they hate King Dedede.
1 and 1 is 3. We don't like King Dedede. 2 and 2 is 6. He weighs the same as a ton of bricks.
What? Well, then I would be angrily staring down those children from my castle, too.
This is the thing that really struck me, because in the Japanese version, it doesn't really seem like anybody dislikes King Dedede.
Right.
Like, they don't seem to know him that well. It doesn't seem like he involves himself that much in the lives of the people. But nobody seems to hate him. They seem at most indifferent to him.
Right.
But in the English version, they really hate him. In fact, in the English version, Kawasaki lets Kirby stay with him explicitly because he finds out that Dedede hates Kirby.
Then how does that scene unfold?
So in the Japanese version, he asks if Kirby can stay in the castle. They say no because Dedede hates Kirby. And then Kawasaki says, well, okay, if he can do the work, then he can stay with me. In the English version, instead, he says,
Is that so? Well, any enemy of the king is a friend of mine.
Okay, but then when Dedede actually shows up to the restaurant...
Well, that plays out the same. Because, yeah, in the Japanese version, he's, like, kind of excited that the king has come, isn't he?
Yeah.
But in the English version, he's not... I guess he's not excited by it, he's just surprised by it.
Duty-bound to serve him.
Yeah, I guess so. Just funny, because I'm pretty sure it's canon that Dedede isn't actually the king. He just showed up and started calling himself the king, and everyone in town was just so easygoing that they just didn't do anything about it. Also, while we're on the subject of Kawasaki's restaurant, the Japanese characters on the sign outside have been painted out for the English version.
Of course. Heaven forbid children know other cultures exist.
It's funny because I would understand if they painted them out to replace them with an English version of the same thing, but they just left the sign blank.
Oh, I don't doubt that for a second.
It's just a plain dark blue sign in the English version.
It's got the stink of 4Kids all over it.
Yeah. Like, they could have just left the sign as it was. It's clear, like, once we're inside the restaurant, it's very clearly Japanese cuisine that they're serving. Also, inside the restaurant, there's a framed, like, painting of a kanji on the wall. I couldn't figure out what the kanji said. If anybody knows and wants to let us know, please do. But they replaced it with a grayscale screen cap of Kawasaki's face.
And this is my framed portrait of myself.
Yeah.
You will need to walk by and greet it every day.
What's weird is that apparently, from what I could tell, this framed kanji is still on the wall in other episodes, and in other episodes they left it. It's only this one where they replaced it with something. Maybe once they realized it was going to appear in more than one episode, they were like, I don't want to change it every time.
Right, that's too much work. They can't even read it. Who cares?
Dedede's car, which in the original is in like green army camo colors, has been completely repainted in every shot to be orange, white, and have purple wheels.
Because it's less threatening, obviously.
Yeah, it makes it look more like a toy car rather than an army jeep.
Does it still have a giant cannon, though?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. And what's weird is they fully removed the scene in the police station. Like, that entire scene is gone. But they left in the part where Dedede shoots Tokori with his cannon.
Right! What?
And they didn't even change it to like a laser cannon sound. It's still just a cannon noise.
Hey, what's the big idea, Buster? I was on your side and you totaled my tree.
It's the inconsistency that's so bizarre.
Yeah, the scene in the bar has been completely removed as well. For some reason, I couldn't figure this one out. I have a theory, but I don't know. But the gas station scene, which they did leave in, which was kind of surprising, but they changed the sticker. So instead of a no Kirby sticker, it's now just a green circle.
I guess so it doesn't look like a do not push this button, but a welcoming please push this green button.
Yeah. That was my thought. Like, the only theory I have on why they changed it is that maybe 4Kids didn't want to portray Kirby as being disobedient. Maybe they were like, well, this says explicitly no Kirby. We can't have him disobeying a rule.
He's not disobedient. He's curious.
Yeah. Rick, the hamster, has been given a thick Australian accent for some reason.
Okay.
And whenever he's on screen, didgeridoos are playing.
Oh my god, are you kidding me?
Hey, mate, you must be Kirby. My name's Rick. I believe you're headed in this direction. G'day.
But they do this with all of them. I was thinking about it afterwards, because Meta Knight, they've given him a thick Spanish accent. And
right.
anytime he talks, Latin guitars are playing.
I can tell you why.
And I didn't personally notice this, but according to the wiki, anytime Tokori is talking, there's an off-key fiddle playing.
Off-key fiddle? Like, why?
Yeah.
Who makes
So that
these
you
decisions?
How would you know he was Australian just by his accent? You've got to have those didgeridoos.
That's true. He could be British. We don't know.
They have messed with the animation of some shots. I didn't compare all the shots to check. I remember noticing they did this in F-Zero as well, where they had like changed the timing of some of the animation to make the mouth movements match their script better.
Mm-hmm.
They've done this here. I don't know how extensively. I only noticed it in one shot because it caused an animation glitch that wasn't in the original. Because when Meta Knight shows up to give them the hint about how to beat Blocky, in the shot directly afterwards, when Tiff is talking, they've made some of the animation play twice to extend her line for the dub version of the line. But that means that Kirby now, he turns to face her as she's talking, and then he like glitches back to facing forward and turns to face her again. Where in the original he only turns to face her once.
Right.
Me noticing him doing that was what made me realize, and then I went back and looked at the original and I was like, oh yeah, they've made her line last like twice as long. Probably trying to fill all the time they were left with by cutting all those scenes.
Right, by cutting half the episode out. They probably had no choice but to leave the gas station scene in, because otherwise they wouldn't have enough material.
Yeah. Dub Dedede gives us probably my favorite line. I want to use this as an insult to somebody at some point in my life.
Go on.
But when he arrives looking for Kirby, after they've done all the inhale training, Dedede says the line,
I know I heard the sound of sucking over here somewhere.
That is a good one.
good insult.
Change that to my auto reply in Monster Hunter World when someone dies.
This is the change I have no explanation for. Kirby, you know when he becomes Stone Kirby for the first time, and he announces it?
Yeah.
They cut that.
Why?
I don't know. Like, they didn't cut the scene. It still happens. They just cut his line. But I don't know why, because it's in English.
Yeah. That is weird.
Did they just not want kids to hear a Japanese accent? They've kept his voice for the rest of the show.
I don't know.
Very weird. And at the very end, when Dedede's crying about Blocky, in the Japanese version, Escargon makes some comment about Blocky throwing his weight around or something. And then Dedede starts hitting him. They've cut the hitting. He doesn't hit him anymore in the English version.
Of course, it's too violent.
Yeah, just like how they cut all those times when Misty slapped Ash.
Oh, yeah. But they won't cut out Tokori getting blasted in the face.
No! Tokori can get shot in the face with a cannon, but we can't let Dedede gently hit Escargon. Like, he doesn't even hurt him. Escargon's just, like, mildly annoyed by the hitting. So anyway, that's it. That's the end. That's all of what I had to say about the dub.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they had anything left to work with.
I know. I'm sure they just extended out all the lines.
Yeah.
To fill up the time.
No legacy, you say?
Not really. I mean, this show has a lot of legacy. We talked about some of it when we did the first episode. Some of the stuff from the show that's made it to the games since. But this episode specifically, no, not really. I did wonder if maybe this design of Blocky had ever appeared in any of the games since, but apparently not.
Good.
Tokori has never showed up in a game, which kind of surprises me, to be honest. But, you know, Tiff and Tuff I don't think have ever showed up in a game either, and that's no big loss. They're quite dull.
Yeah.
I don't like those kids very much. You know, I was thinking, you were saying about how Lololo and La 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 are just kind of hanging around this whole episode and not doing anything.
Right.
I would have liked it so much more if they just had Tiff and Tuff's roles.
Yeah, I don't understand why there's so many people just following Kirby around to narrate his life.
Yeah. It could have just been Lololo and La La La. It would have been great.
Yeah.
I would have felt more attached to them because I already know them from the games. Because that's a big problem I have with a lot of the shows of this era, is that they'll take a franchise I love, make a show out of it, but then they'll make the central character of the show some new person that I have no attachment to.
Right.
They did it for F-Zero, they did it for this, they did it for Sonic X. I'm like, I'm not here to watch the Chris Thorndike show, I want to watch Sonic the Hedgehog.
Right.
Where is Captain Falcon?
I can almost understand it for this one, just because Kirby's like he's a silly little boy. So, like, you need somebody to kind of help him around, you know?
Oh, yeah, no, I understand that Kirby wouldn't work as, you know, our focal point here.
Right.
It's better seeing, and I feel this way about all these shows, it is better seeing Sonic or Kirby or Captain Falcon through the eyes of somebody else. I think that makes sense for all three of those characters. I just wish they had chosen another character from the game instead of creating someone new.
Yeah.
For it. Like, we would be just as happy seeing Sonic through Tails' eyes, seeing Captain Falcon through Jodie Summer's eyes, seeing Kirby through Lololo and La La La's eyes. We didn't need these new characters that we don't, you know, have any context for.
Right.
To be taking up so much screen time. There's so many other existing characters that could have been there. In fact, I would have liked, if it were my choice and I were making a Kirby show from scratch, from the ground up, I would have done it like this, but instead of Tiff and Tuff, I would have had the focal character be Adeline from the games, the painter girl.
Oh, yeah.
She's perfect for that. Just have this painter girl, you know, trying to help Kirby.
This lone wanderer from the stars.
Yeah, I think that would have been great. But no, I guess she's a human, and I think I read that one of the rules for the show was that no humans could appear.
Why?
I don't know. I mean, she's the only human in the games, I think. I think Sakurai, I'm pretty sure I read that it was Sakurai who had that no humans rule for them. Because he gave them a few rules, I think, when they were starting out. And he was like, here are the things you can't do. One of them was that Kirby can't talk. One of them was that there shouldn't be any humans in it. And I think his worry was that they would make it like a reverse isekai.
Oh, yeah.
Kirby comes to Earth, and then it's all about like Kirby on Earth. And that
that's
I don't
not
think
what
I
we
would have
want.
liked that.
No.
Nobody wants that.
We need Dreamland and all the wacky cast of characters.
Yeah, exactly. It could even do with being more wacky than it is, I feel like.
Yeah, it's too wholesome. They got a quaint little town.
Yeah, the idea of this town feels strange to me. Like, there's nothing like this in the games. I've never seen a gas station actually, there is a gas station in Forgotten Land, I think, but that's different. That's you exploring an abandoned planet. Like, looks like an abandoned Earth.
Oh, yeah.
It's hard for me to imagine there being a gas station in, like, greens, you know?
Yeah, but there is that theory that Kirby 64 takes place in a post-apocalyptic world.
Well, yeah, that one of the planets is Earth frozen over.
Right.
I think it's Shiver Star.
Yeah.
And if you look at the world map from a distance, it has the land masses of Earth, I think. It's got like you can see North and South America and stuff on there. I never noticed while playing it, but I've been reliably told by the internet that that's the case.
The internet would never lie.
When they were first showing off Forgotten Land, I did think that maybe it was supposed to be that Kirby had gone to Earth and it was like post-apocalyptic. But having played the game, I don't believe that to be the case. I think it is an alien planet that just happens to look quite a lot like Earth.
That's boring.
Yeah, it's not as cool, in my opinion. Anyway, I guess we're done. I like this show.
I do like it. It's fun.
I think that this show is better when it's being a comedy than it is when it's being an action show.
Yeah.
Because it kind of, the premise of it kind of necessitates that every episode devolve into action at some point. But I am always way more invested when it's just silly everyday things happening. Like, the section of this episode that was Kirby trying to find a job was way more entertaining to me than the section of the show that was him fighting Blocky.
Right. It's like, even though the Kirby games themselves are full of combat, I don't know, it doesn't feel like a combat-heavy game to me.
No.
It's a game where you fly and you eat things.
Yeah, because so many of the enemies are just like funny little guys.
Yeah, and you can fly over the whole level and barely engage with any of them if you want.
Yeah, I think, though, maybe the action scene would have been better if it wasn't stone ability we were
Yeah, I think that's part of the problem.
Time. I think the focus ability of the next episode is Sword, which probably lends itself better to action scenes. Because what we had so far, the first episode was Fire, and then this episode was Stone. I'm not sure if it's like a different... Oh, the wiki has a list of all the abilities. So yeah, first episode was Fire, second episode is Stone. The next 2 episodes are both Sword, apparently.
Oh.
And then there's 3 episodes with no ability, and then it's Stone again.
Not again.
Yeah, it looks like there's quite a lot of episodes where Kirby just doesn't use any ability. That's interesting.
Does that mean there's just not really any combat?
Maybe. I guess we'll find out.
In 5 years.
We should come back to Kirby again soon. I like it. I want to see more of it.
Me too.
Thanks for joining us, everyone.
Oh, was I supposed to say something there?
You can if you want.
Sometimes you don't leave me time, and then sometimes you do.
This time I did.
And I missed it.
You've ruined our ending.
Good. Wouldn't have it any other way.
Please like, comment, and subscribe if you wanna. And if you'd like to support us with monetary cash money, you can head to patreon.com/superbreakfastfriendsclub and join our #1 patron, Jamie Core.
Is your mom still not back?
No.
Thanks, Jamie.
There's also coffee.com/superbreakfastfriendsclub. And I guess we're on Twitter, or what's left of it.
The post-apocalyptic Kirby planet of Twitter.
Yeah, I mean, we've been contacted by a few people through Twitter now, and I do still use it to update what's going on with the show, but I don't think people really see it. There isn't an account for the show on Blue Sky, but I'm on Blue Sky if you look for Skull Pirate Mike. In fact, look for Skull Pirate Mike wherever the heck you want. I might be there.
Could be. Maybe you'll just find a wizard.
I don't know that a wizard would be masquerading as me.
Oh, then you don't know a lot about wizards.
Oh, yes, I don't know. I don't know.
You making fun of me?
Oh, is that what you sound like in your head?
Yes, actually, as a matter of fact.
Then yeah, I guess I am. Bye!
Get the hell out of here. You're fired.
You can't fire me, I'm quit.
It's too bad about that.
You don't even stank off mine.
I did once. I regret it.
Why?
It wasn't great times.
Well,
I'm so
believe you.
tired.
Yeah, I can smell that.